What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another match day prediction. This is match day 7 of the MLS. If you haven't saw my review, go back and watch it. It was released 2 days ago on Tuesday. I will also put it in the eye above, whichever way it is. Haven't got to that yet. But anyway, let's just jump into it. We have first up Montreal versus Vancouver Whitecaps. Montreal are sitting 9th in their table, whereas the Whitecaps are sitting 13th in the West, so that's second to last. On that, Montreal haven't kept a clean sheet in the last 8 matches, so it's going to be a tough one. But Montreal's current form is 2 wins, which they're on a 2-game win streak, 2 draws, and a loss, whereas Whitecaps are 1 win, 1 draw, and 3 losses. I think this is going to be a close one, but I think Montreal are on a good bit of a streak, and I think that they beat the Whitecaps 2-1 in this matchup. I just think with them being at home, they have the advantage. So that moves us into the San Jose Earthquakes versus Nashville SC. Currently, the Earthquakes have no wins in the last 5. They have 2 draws, 3 losses, whereas Nashville is currently on a 2-game win streak with 1 draw and 2 losses also. They have yet to play at home. I forgot about that their home stadium is not opening until May. But yeah, they're not playing at home yet, so that's pretty good for them. Also, San Jose has not actually won a game in the last 7 matches. So I just talked about the 5-game form, and it is actually 7. Nashville is ranked number 1 away from home, but that's because they haven't had a home game yet. So everything's been on the road. So they play against the Earthquakes at PayPal Park. I believe that this is going to be a good matchup, but I think Earthquakes struggling. They're going to put up a good fight. So also to throw this in there, Nashville is 7th in the table, whereas San Jose is actually 14th. That's last place, and they're in the East. No, in the West. My apologies. So with that being said, though, I think the Earthquake get it done and they get a draw. They don't win, but they get a 1-1 draw against Nashville. I think Nashville is a good side. They just got to keep it up. I really like Nashville. I think they're better than 7th place in their table, but also they are, like I said, they haven't played at home, so that's a twist. Once they start getting home games, they're going to have that home crowd. I guarantee that they win their first game at home in their new stadium, which I would love to go see. So moving on, our next game is Atlanta United versus FC Cincinnati. Last week's game for Atlanta sucked against Charlotte. They got the Olympicos goal, and that was it. But currently, Atlanta are 2 wins, a draw, and 2 losses. Cincinnati have 2 wins and 3 losses, and they are actually on a 2-game losing streak. Currently, Atlanta United set 4th in the table, whereas FC Cincinnati set 11th. They've kind of fallen. I thought that FC Cincinnati was going to turn it around, and but they went on a 2-game win streak and then 2-game losing streak. So with that being said, Atlanta have won the last 2 games against FC Cincinnati, which is nice. So I don't think that it's going to change too much here. I do believe that with all of the injuries that Atlanta has, whenever they're at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, it's a different atmosphere. I think that they do get this done against FC Cincinnati 2-1. Probably a late goal because that is the Atlanta way right now, is to get the goal at the end of the game, and hopefully that happens. So 2-1 Atlanta, which takes us into Houston Dynamo versus Timbers. Houston currently have 3 wins, a draw, and a loss in the last 5. Timbers are actually 2 wins, a draw, and 2 losses. Houston is sitting 6th in their table. Portland is actually 8th. I think this is going to be a good matchup. But at the same time, yes, Timbers they won against the Whitecaps last week. But I think Houston's just a better side. Even though they haven't kept a clean sheet in the last 5 games. And I think they get it done at PNC Stadium and actually win this game 2-0. I think they shut the Timbers out. I'd like to see the Timbers start to do better. I think that they are performing below expectations, but it's early. It's early, so we'll see. We'll see what happens there. So moving on, we have the Red Bulls against the other Texas team, FC Dallas, who I'm actually kind of high on right now. The way that they've been playing is pretty good. They haven't lost in the last 4 games. They're actually 3 wins, a draw, and a loss, whereas the Red Bulls, on the other hand, 2 wins, a draw, and 2 losses. I think this is going to be a good game. They are at Red Bull Arena. I don't think FC Dallas goes in and gets the win, but they do walk away with 1 point, tying Red Bull 2-2. And currently, Red Bull set 3rd in the East, which is crazy to think, because I don't feel like they're performing up to expectation, and FC Dallas is actually sitting 5th in their table in the West. So I do believe that they walk away with a one point for each of them, with a 2-2 draw there in New York. Well, is it New York or are they in New Jersey? I'm not sure. I think that, I don't know if they're, I hate whenever those freaking New York teams. Anyway, next up we have Columbus Crew versus Orlando City. Orlando City had a good game against Chicago Fire last week, but I'm pretty upset with the Crew right now too. They haven't been playing very well. They are in a unwin streak in the last 3 games. Their current form is actually 1 win, 2 draws, and 2 losses. So they've lost the last 2 games, and in that 3rd game they did draw. Whereas Orlando City, they have 2 wins, a draw, and 2 losses. They are coming off of a win versus Chicago Fire. Orlando is actually second in their conference, where Columbus is 7th. Columbus has not scored in their last 2 games at all, and then they only had 1 goal in the draw. I think that it's going to be a good game there in Columbus, and I again think that both teams are going to walk away with a point. The same score as the Red Bulls FC Dallas game. It's going to be a 2-2 draw there at lower.com field. So we move on to DC United versus Austin FC. I like Austin FC. I want to see them actually do pretty well in the West. Currently, DC United set 10th in the East, where Austin sets 4th in the West. I think that they have a good team. DC United is struggling. Currently, their form is 2 wins and 3 losses. They are currently on a 3-game losing streak, whereas Austin is 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. They are on a 3-game unbeaten streak, but 2 of those are draws. They did win last week, though, against Minnesota United 1-0. In this game, though, I think Austin goes on the road and wins this game 2-0. Also, another fun fact, DC United have not scored in their last 2 home matches, but I do believe that Austin walks into DC and gets a 2-0 win at Audi Field. Which leads us into the Revs versus Charlotte. I'm kind of high on Charlotte right now too. I think Charlotte's a good team. They could have done better against Atlanta last week. Also, like I said, very lucky goal. I guess it could be some skill with that, but it was tipped by Brad Guzan to make it in. But kudos to them for the win against Atlanta. Now let's talk about the Revs. The Revs have not won a game in the last 5 games. They have been beaten every game. They haven't kept a clean sheet in 5 matches. They currently sit 13th in the table, whereas Charlotte, they have 3 wins currently, 3 wins and 2 losses in their current 5 form. I really hope, with them being at Gillette Stadium, that the Revs turn this around, and I think they are going to turn around. I think they are going to get a win here, 1-0 over Charlotte. But yes, it's just the Revs need to. What is going on up there? I'm very surprised by this form that they have. Yeah, they have 4 points right now, but this is going to be the 7th game in for them, and currently on a 5-game losing streak. It's not like the Revs. So I think they turn it around here and get a 1-0 win over Charlotte at home at Gillette Stadium. So next up, we have Toronto FC versus the Philadelphia Union. Someone commented on the review, so if you haven't looked at the review, go check that out. That, we got to give props to the Union. They have not lost a game yet this season, which is phenomenal. They are so good, and especially at Subaru Park, they are great. The coaching staff is wonderful. So I do have to, give praise to them on this. So we are playing this game is being played at BMO Field there in Toronto. Toronto's current form is 2 wins, a draw, and 2 losses, whereas Philadelphia Union, their last 5 has been nothing but wins. Another thing to keep in mind, that Toronto has not kept a clean sheet in 16 matches, so that's kind of iffy. And then also, Philadelphia Union are unbeaten away in the last 4 matches. But I think we lose our only team that is not beaten in MLS this week, and I think Toronto gets the job done 2-1. Toronto has turned it around here in the last 3 games, and I think that they're only going to go up. They've struggled, and I understand that. New coaching staff. I think they had the same players, but Bradley comes in as the coach, so it takes some time with new coaches, in my opinion. So, but they're on this up streak trend, and I think that they get an upset here against Philadelphia Union and beats them 2-1 there in Toronto. So now we go on to Chicago Fire versus LA Galaxy. Also in the comments in the last video, we talked about LA Galaxy versus LAFC, and the commenter had saying that LAFC is definitely the better side than the Galaxy. Galaxy just got lucky. I got to watch some of the highlights, but the end of the game was pretty bad, so I do think that LAFC does have the better team. I think I said that in my prediction video for last week, that LAFC has that better team. It just didn't pan out for them last week. But anyway, to Chicago Fire versus LA Galaxy. Chicago currently 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss, whereas LA Galaxy 3 wins and 2 losses. Chicago set 5th in the Eastern Conference, and LA Galaxy set 2nd behind LAFC in the Western Conference. I think it's going to be a good game, but I do believe that LA Galaxy is the stronger side. Chicago hasn't scored in their last 2. Yeah, in the last 2 matches, and they are unbeaten in the last 6 games at home. But again, I think LA Galaxy is just too strong. I think LA Galaxy wins this game 3-2 there in Chicago at Soldier Field. So moving on, we have Minnesota United versus Colorado Rapids for the second to last game on Saturday. Minnesota United's current form is 2 wins, a draw, and 2 losses. And then you have the Rapids with 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. Both teams lost their games last week. Minnesota was to Austin, and Colorado Rapids was to FC Dallas. Both of them were away losses, so it is bad to lose, but at the same time, it is an away game. Colorado sent 9th in the table, whereas Minnesota set 10th in the table. But for this one, I don't think it's going to be that. I don't think there's going to be a lot of goals scored in this game. I actually think it's going to end up being 1-0. And I believe that Minnesota United win that game at home 1-0 over the Colorado Rapids to jump them in the table. Which leads us to Seattle Sounders versus Inter Miami. Miami did get a win last week. The struggling Miami did get a win last week against the Revs. Maybe they are going to turn it around with that hat trick that Campagna, I think that's how you say it, got last week. But Seattle Sounders' current form is 3 wins and 2 draws, so they are unbeaten in the last 5, but they also have not kept a clean sheet in the last 5. whereas Inter Miami has 1 win and 4 losses. Miami might start to get it to turn around. So Miami is actually sitting 14th in their table, whereas the Sounders, I believe, are 11th. I thought that they were doing better than that. So, but they are at Lumen Field. Seattle are so good there. I don't think that Miami continues this win streak, and I really think that Seattle wins this 3-0. I'm sorry, but Miami does not have what it takes to beat a strong Seattle side. I think that Seattle has been struggling in the MLS season because of the Champions League, but I think that they get this done. Inter Miami still have a lot of things to sort out and get fixed before they start really competing. Which leads us into our next game, which is New York City FC versus Real Salt Lake. This is our first game of 2 on Sunday. New York their current form is 1 win and 4 losses, and their 4 losses are in a row. So they are currently on a 4-game losing streak. They haven't kept a clean sheet in the last 6. And currently Real Salt Lake, their form is 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. They also haven't kept a clean sheet in the last 5 matches. So this is going to be a wild one, in my opinion. This one's hard to predict. So New York City FC is sitting 12th in the table. Real Salt Lake is sitting 3rd, but they have been struggling as of late. Even though that they have drawn the last 2, their 3rd game, though, is a loss. I think that Real Salt Lake go into Yankee Stadium and walk away with a point against New York City FC with a 1-1 draw. New York needs to turn it around. I mean, being the champions last year and currently sitting 12th in the table, it's not good enough in my opinion. But also, again, I feel like teams struggle. I think it's been one of those things, teams struggle when they play in the Champions League, which they have this season for a little while. So, that being said, 1-1 draw there in New York. Which leads us into our final game of the week, which is LAFC versus Sporting KC. Yes, LA lost to the Galaxy last week, but so did Kansas City, lost at home against Nashville. So LAFC's current form is 3 wins, a draw, and a loss, where Sporting KC is actually a win and 4 losses. Their current form is actually 2 losses, a win, and then 2 losses. LAFC is unbeaten in the last 6 games at home, and I don't think that's going to change. I think that LAFC wins this game 2-0 over Sporting KC. LAFC is first in the table. Sporting KC is 12th. LAFC are just on another level right now, and I don't see that stopping. Them and the Galaxy are going to run away with first and second in the West, I believe. So 2-0 win for LAFC. And those are my predictions for Week 7. So please, in the comments below, tell me what you think. Tell me if you agree with me, if you don't agree with me. And if you really like the content, please subscribe to the channel. I try to upload at least 2 videos a week. One of the reviewing the week before, and then predictions for the next week. And then every once in a while, I'll throw in some other videos. But thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.